Hello, Alexis here. I am the crafter behind Persialu.com and I have a brand new macrame tutorial for you. Today, my friend Colleen from Lemon Thistle and I decided to do a couple of Christmas macrame tutorials together. You can find a link to her amazing video below. She made the cutest macrame stocking. And today here we are going to be making this right here, Macrame Snowflake Ornament. If you want to make your own macrame snowflake ornament, then just go grab some cord and a pair of scissors and let's get making. Okay, so for this I am using a 4mm cotton cord that's a twist, and then you'll need a wooden bead. One that has a larger hole like this is easier, and you'll need a pair of scissors and then a comb. These are just some cheap combs that I got at the dollar store that I use for crafting purposes. Okay, so first we're gonna cut some pieces. We're gonna cut 13 lengths, and 12 of them you want to be about 3 feet or a yard or about a meter long, and then another one that is a little bit longer than that, maybe another 6 inches added on to that. All right, so I've got my 12 lengths here. I'm just gonna pull one out, and this is going to be kind of the base or the loop of my ornament. All right, so I have one of my lengths folded in half, and I'm going to loop it around my center piece of cord using a lark's head knot. Just pull it tight like that. Show you that again a little bit slower. So I've got the length folded in half, and I'm gonna take that middle fold and loop it around like that. So I have it looped around, and then I'm just going to pull the tails down through that loop. And then pull the tails to tighten. And that attaches the cords to our center cord, which is the center of the loop. So we're gonna do that for all 11 of the remaining lengths that we have, and then the one longer one we're gonna do last. Okay, so at this point I have 11 of the cords tied on, and now I'm gonna take that longer cord and I'm just going to tie it on here on the end, but I'm going to loop it so that one of the ends, that extra length, is hanging off on one side. So one of the strands is gonna be a little bit longer than all of the rest. This isn't probably totally necessary to do it that way. You could probably just cut all of your strands a little bit longer and then trim them off at the end. But in my mind, this was going to save me some cord. All right, so now this one right here is a little bit longer than all of the other cords. And now I'm just going to do a double half hitch to close my circle. So these strands here are gonna be at the top of the ornament and form the loop that you can hang the ornament with. So you can kind of try to keep those separate while we're knotting the rest. This one here is the longest one. So we're gonna use this longer string, and it's gonna go around, and that's gonna be the running cord that we tie the double half hitch knots around to give us kind of like a wreath shape in the center of our ornament. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm going to hold it up close to the bottom of our lark's head knots there. And then I'm just gonna go one by one using each of the cords all the way around the ornament and tie a double half hitch around this running cord. So this is gonna wrap all the way around the center and back here. Okay, so starting with this one, to do the double half hitch, you just wrap it up around that running cord, the cord you're holding, and then pull it through the loop and tighten, and then you're gonna do that again. So you do it twice with each cord. And then we're gonna move on to the next cord and do that around that same cord that we're holding up close to the bottom of the lark's head knot. So I'm gonna do that again up, around, and then under and through the loop. And then again, over, under, through the loop, and pull to tighten. Okay, so I've done the first 2 cords. Go on to the 3rd one. And just keep going around. So at this point, if you wanted, you could just cut all of these and fray them out and you'd have a cute little wreath ornament. And I actually really like that idea, but I wanted to try to do a snowflake. So this is what I've come up with. Okay, so our snowflake is gonna have 6 points. And so we're going to divide our cords out, again, kind of keeping this part separate. That's the top of the ornament, the loop at the top, and then separate everything out into groups of 4 strands. And those are gonna kind of be the basis of our 6 points of our snowflake. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little groups of 4, and then our 2 that are the center of the ornament. So for these, we are going to do a couple of square knots, but to help make more of a gradual point instead of just a line, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the leftmost strand from this group of 4 and bring it over here into this group of 4. And then this one's going to go under to join that group of 4, right? And then we're gonna do the same over this way. And these are just gonna cross over. I'm gonna put this one over the top of these strands and the one from this group under. So they kind of wrap around these strands that are the loop to hang. So now my group of 4 is the leftmost strand from this group of 4 and the rightmost strand from that group of 4. So these are the 4 that we're going to do a square knot in to make the first part of this point of the snowflake. So to do the square knot, I have a whole video about the square knot that you can go and watch if you are newer to macrame and unfamiliar with that knot. But basically I'm just going to, these 2 center cords are gonna be stationary and I'm just gonna use the outside cords to knot around them. So this one's gonna go over, and then this one's going to go over, under, and up through the loop, like that. I'm gonna pull those. So I'm gonna pull it tight, but not too tight. It's kind of like that. And then finish the square knot here. So that is the first square knot for our first point of our snowflake. Okay, so let's rotate over. So this, the leftmost one, I've already taken from this knot, and now I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So I'm gonna take the leftmost one from this group of 4 and cross it over from that group of 4. And then I'm gonna do a square knot here. And then we're gonna move over to the next group of 4 and do the same thing. So this one here, I'm gonna push over and bring this one across it, right? And then do another square knot. All right, and then we just are gonna keep going in that pattern until we have all 6 of the first square knots done. This is the cord that was left over from this group before that was, I had crossed it over, but it got moved as I was twisting around. So I'm just gonna bring that over again in front of the cords that are gonna be at the top of my ornament and bring that over into this group of 4 and then do the last square knot. All right, and then we are going to repeat that whole process with another square knot. So I'm gonna go back here to my first group of 4 that I started with, here to the right of my center loop. And I'm going to do the same thing where I take the leftmost thread, pass it over the top of these cords and bring this one under. And then I'm gonna take the leftmost cord from this one and bring it over here. And then I'm gonna do another square knot. So this spoke of the snowflake now has 2 square knots, and we're gonna rotate around to the next little bundle of 4 here. So again, we're gonna pass that one over and take one from the next group over. So with the cord from the next group over, I'm gonna do our square knot again. And then just keep going in this pattern until you get back to where you started. Okay, so we are back around to our first spoke. This is what it's looking like right now. You can kind of, I think you can see spokes are getting a little more defined. And at this point, we're gonna add kind of the ends to each of our snowflake points. So again, this is where it's gonna hang from. We're gonna leave that alone. And then we're gonna take these 4 here. And we're just gonna do we're gonna use some more of the double half hitch stitches. So this time, the leftmost cord is gonna be the cord that we hold, and we're gonna kind of do it at a little bit of an angle like this. And then this one here, we're gonna wrap around and do a double half hitch around that. Just the same way that we did it here around for our kind of center circle. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here, bring this one in to be the holding cord, and then this one's gonna do the double half hitch going the other direction. And then we're gonna take these were the cords that were the holding cords that are now here in the middle. And I'm just going to use one to do kind of a double half hitch around the other to close up the point of our snowflake. Like so. So it gives you kind of this little point shape at the end of your snowflake. And then we're gonna cut these ends and fray them out. All right, so we're gonna do that again to finish this end off. And then we're just going to repeat that little double half hitch point to finish off each spoke of our snowflake. Okay, so here is what our ornament is looking like at this point. This is going to be the top up here, and then these are our 6 little points on our snowflake. So next we're gonna fray those ends. So this comb has like a wire pick on the end, and I kind of usually like to start with that and just kind of separate the ends out. This part can take a little bit, but a comb helps. It depends a little bit too on how long your cords are. These are pretty short, so it shouldn't be too bad. Once I have them kind of loosened out, then I take a fine comb and kind of comb them out. So go around and do that with all of the tails, and then we will trim them so they're more consistent in length. All right, so here they are all frayed out. I'm going to try to cut them kind of into a little point like that and try to get them all pretty even. Take my scissors and I'm gonna I think that looks good. And I'm gonna clip it kind of at an angle. And then I'm gonna try to get similar length all the way around. I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Might still fuss with it a little bit, but now let's add our bead entire loop at the top. So first I'm just going to thread these ends through my bead here, There we go. And I'm going to just loop these around. And then I'm just gonna tighten that knot down on top of the bead to hold it close to the top of my ornament so it's not sliding around on the loop. Just like that. And then I'm gonna add another knot about there, a few inches above, so that you have a nice little loop for hanging. I'm just gonna do the same thing, loop it around and pull it through to make a knot. So I actually decided to cut them a little bit shorter, and that is what we ended up with. That is the finished snowflake. So it's about 6.5 inches long maybe, and if we don't include the ties, maybe like 5.5. And of course you can use smaller cord for a smaller ornament or larger cord for a large ornament. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you and that you will be making some of your own macrame snowflake ornaments in the future. Until next time, happy making, bye!